folks, it's Stefan, back again with another episode of the Gamer's Companion to Music. Today I'll be talking about the single most emotionally powerful game I've ever played, Undertale. This game was feverishly hyped, and I wasn't going to play it based on what seemed like overreactions by a rabid fanbase, but boy am I glad I did. The emotional effect this game had on me was intense and powerful, and I wish I could go back to the days before playing it just to experience it again. The music in Undertale is a shining star, masterfully weaving the story together in more ways than it seems on the surface. Before we dive in, however, I must warn you that this video contains massive amounts of spoilers to the game. You name the run and I've spoiled it here. Normally, I wouldn't care so much since most of the games I've talked about aren't so recent. But honestly, the nature of Undertale's story is best experienced through playing the game. You will not regret paying the $10 to experience an amazing story and a really fun game. Go buy the game, play it, then come back and watch the video, and have your mind blown even more by what Toby Fox does with the music. You have been warned. With that, let's dive deep into Mount Ebbot and see what the music of Undertale has in store. Undertale is an RPG-style game and was created by Toby Fox with help from a very small team. It was released for the PC and Mac OS X on September 15th, 2015, and was met with overwhelmingly positive reviews. The game was funded through a relatively modest Kickstarter campaign, only asking for $5,000 but receiving $50,000. The game, if you can believe it, was made using GameMaker. Yes, GameMaker. As in I could boot up GameMaker on my PC and make Undertale. That is, if I had any ability to create games or write compelling stories at all. Not only that, the music was composed by Toby Fox, the creator of the game. It is almost unheard of that the designer or creator of a game met with such wide praise also has the musical prowess to compose the music entirely. The game is truly his in all aspects. Alright, so there's a lot of music in this game, and it's well intertwined. It's really hard to know where to start. In almost all of my Gamer's Companion to Music videos, I've talked about games having a musical motif or two, which is basically just a fancy way of saying a musical theme that recurs throughout the game, or piece of music. We're going to call these musical themes in Undertale leitmotifs, which is elevating them to the level of leading motif. These themes should be clearly identified so they retain their identity when they do return, and for the most part they absolutely do this in Undertale. There are a ton of these in this game, but I'm going to first focus on the two most important ones, the Undertale main theme and his theme, referring to Asriel Dreamer. The Undertale main theme is what you'll hear when you first boot up the game. This leitmotif winds its way into very crucial parts of the storyline. Asriel's theme is what you'll hear if you give the statue an umbrella in Waterfall. Both of these melodies are crucially important and return together for the first time when the player finds new home late in the game. The track that plays there is called Undertale, and plays while the monsters tell the real story of the first fallen human and the king and queen's son, Asriel. This was the moment that I realized the monsters weren't evil. They were just misunderstood, even by me. The music builds up as the story reaches its different sections. The instrumentation dissipates when they talk about the human dying. And then builds back up to the end. The monsters at the end ask the player if they are ready, if they are happy. Since the monsters only need one more soul, they will finally be free. The music leaves you with this really hopeful ending, where the rhythm completely cuts out and you're left with an open-ended statement of Asriel's theme. This is the most powerful piece of music in the game for me, so I wanted to make sure I covered it quite early. I will often associate the main theme from Undertale with Toriel, who is the first actually friendly NPC you'll meet in the game. It's probably more accurate to associate the Fallen Down music with her, but for me it's always been the main theme equals Toriel for some reason. Affectionately named Goat Mom in the Game Grumps playthrough, she treats you as her own, and even prepares a room for you in your new home. It was massively creepy to me at first, so I killed her, and I only realized later that this might not have been my best moment. The main theme comes back when you find Toriel's home in the ruins, and even changes instrumentation to a lovely music box if you sleep or turn off the light in your room. An acoustic guitar plays the main version of Home in a very classical style, which in itself lends a bit of emotion to the music. The performer here uses very slight rubato, or the soloistic alteration of time, to linger slightly on the ends of phrases. This gives the music a much more expressive quality than just driving tempo. It's meant for you to feel something. Undertale is very much a game about choice, and during some of the more intense and important choices in the game, a track called The Choice will play. Go figure. On the surface, it sounds like a soundscape meant to drive emotion through your big decision, but a closer inspection reveals that if the song is sped up to around 666%, the music is an exact sample from the track Undertale played earlier. Here is The Choice. And now here is The Choice sped up. That's pretty wild, right? There's plenty more where that came from too. Since you know that the flower that you meet at the start, Flowey, is actually Asriel, you'll remember how cheeky the music was at the beginning, as he's given you a false tutorial of how the battle system works. Turns out that the Flowey theme also makes its appearance in many different parts of the game. In neutral runs, you'll have to fight a ridiculously photoshopped version of Flowey, and the original theme is all over that particular battle. Specifically, when each of the human souls take you into a new section of the battle, a version of that Flowey theme plays. Here are some examples. The end of the true pacifist, goody two-shoes, I played the game without killing anyone, real ending, sees Flowey capture all your friends, and you're pretty well doomed. Turns out Flowey is actually Asriel, and he reveals himself to you in an ultimate form, having absorbed the other 6 human souls. You actually can't die in the battle, but having persevered through the game the right way, you are rewarded with an epic battle with some epic music that combines the main theme and the Asriel theme, and also includes a hint of that Flowey theme too. Here are some of those excerpts from the final battle tracks, called Hopes and Dreams and Save the World. See if you can't pick out some of the leitmotifs we've already looked at. At the end of the battle, we finally get to hear Asriel's theme in its full original form. It's a pretty lovely piece of music by itself, but after having played through the game, it also leaves me with an emotional connection to a little goat boy who is unable to feel emotion, and how sad that must be. Damn, I love this game. Alright, so the examples I've illustrated are not the only times you'll hear those themes, but I'd like to move on to some of the less emotionally impactful music, because these other pieces of music also play a prominent role in the player's experience. Starting in the ruins, we hear a piece of music with a very important duet that serves as the foundation for a lot of the overworld music in the game, called Ruins. When you get to the waterfall section, you'll hear a slightly different version of the same music. Here is that theme. Yep, that's the exact same thing. Since the boss of the waterfall area is Undyne, you'll also hear bits and pieces of this music in the different battles against Undyne. In the neutral and pacifist routes, you'll hear Spear of Justice. In the Genocide run, you'll hear Battle Against a True Hero. All of the Undyne music does have its own flavor, taken from a track called Undyne, go figure. But you can hear the Ruins melody sprinkled in. Of course, most of the time you'll be spent battling monsters. Battling is such a loose term for it. I mean, you could literally be attacking the crap out of them, or you could be appeasing them, or straight up just running away from them. I don't know what kind of person you are. The fighting music is pretty sweet. I think the reason the music is so compelling is the use of different instrument sounds during each measure of the melody. Listen to it closely. The timbre, or character of the sound, changes pretty much every single measure. Lay that on top of a nice driving rhythm and you've got a nice piece of battle music. This leads me right into the dogs. Yes, the dogs. You know them and you love them. When you first fight the greater dog in this snowy area, a hilarious song plays. But listen closely. It's that same battle music, just using a sound font that sounds like dogs barking, and it's hilariously adorable. If you happen to stumble upon the Temmie Village in Waterfall, named after artist Temmie Chang, who worked on the game, you'll find hilarious dog sprites of Tem. Aside from the amazing sounds that are used, you'll hear the village music and the shop music both take their melodies from the battle music as well. It wouldn't be a video about Undertale if I didn't mention the skeletons we all know and love so much. Seriously, when I was at MagFest, there were 500,000 cosplays of Sans and Papyrus. Sans and Papyrus are the first characters you come across in the snowy area, and they're both so charming in their own ways. Papyrus wants to capture you, but then realizes he just wants a friend, while Sans knows way more about existence than anyone could have ever seen coming. Each of these skeletons gets their own music. Papyrus's music, called and Bone Trousel, are both slightly inquisitive while maintaining a very playful nature. Papyrus is all about puzzles, and for some reason the music is really able to capture his quirky nature. When he reveals his blue attack in the fight against him, the rhythm picks up and the instrumentation slightly changes, giving a sense of an actual boss fight. Now Sans, on the other hand, is characterized by both comical and serious melodies. When you first encounter him with the whoopee cushion in the hand thing, the music is very laid back and gives off a chilled groove. It really fits the character and his joking nature. The problem, however, is that Sans is much more than that. We find out a lot about Sans in the Genocide run, given that he ends up being the ridiculously intense final boss. It's Raining Somewhere Else plays during serious conversations with Sans, where he asks you some fairly introspective questions about life. It's a stark contrast to the Sans we saw in the snowy area. Two pieces of music represent that final Genocide run battle against Sans. The first is called Song That Might Play When You Fight Sans, and is literally not included in the game's files. You'll only find it on the soundtrack, and is likely used to tease a Sans fight chronologically in the neutral run progression. The real one is called Megalovania, and did not originate in Undertale. The song was originally created for Toby's Earthbound Halloween hack. It ends up in Undertale, and you'll pretty much know the whole song since it'll take you about 40 or more different tries to memorize the damn Sans fight. It's very difficult, but the music is amazing. God, there are so many more themes, and I'm sitting here writing the script today, going, how many more of these do I want to do? I'm going to finish up by just including some of my own personal favorites. I've always loved the music for the snowy area and Snowdin town. It's so peaceful and gorgeous, and this music is also reused quite a bit. The melody is easily heard in the snowy track. And it's also hidden in the sleigh bells of Snowdin town. If you decide to befriend or date Papyrus and not kill him like a sadistic beast, the main melody is used as the basis for the dating music. Have a listen. I've always loved the Alphys and Mettaton dynamic. Mettaton is a pretty sweet character, and comes with some sick music as well. We are first introduced to this really awkward scientist named Alphys, whatever, who's been creepily following your quest, and is characterized musically by a very odd rhythmic ostinato. His robot game show host Mettaton is the real star of the lava and core areas. The first time you encounter him, you'll hear It's Showtime, a song composed using the same instruments as were used in Sonic & Knuckles. There's some real similarities there. The next is an awesome piece when you fight him in his game show immediately after. It's completely chiptuned and sounds like it could be in an awesome Tetris remake. It has bits of a song Toby composed for the webcomic Cucumber Quest, like a few other tracks in this game. The introduction to his final battle is sick. And then you've got the actual fight song Death by Glamour. That is a remix of the core theme, Metal Crusher, and Showtime. It's pretty sweet. Mettaton also bestows upon us a full-on musical performance in the Hotlands, complete with on-screen lyrics. It's absolutely hilarious. And then when he sends you to the dungeon to complete his insane puzzle, that same music is sped up and remixed slightly. When you finally give him the highest ratings he's ever had and he's about to die, a somber version of that musical plays, creating a very nice moment. I can't end this without mentioning two more things. First off, the Genocide run features an incredibly slowed down track once you kill all of the monsters in a given area. Speed that baby up, however, and what do you get? Of course it's the Flowey music. Of course. I hate that cursed flower. The other song I wanted to mention was Muffet's theme, which is simply awesome. Occasionally, the spiders in the fight will perform a synchronized dance with the music. It's very chiptuned and shares its melody with the themes of the ghost fights before it, Naps to Blook and the Mad Dummy. Sometimes the best thing to say about a piece of music is that it sounds amazing, and that's what it's all about, right? So I know I didn't hit every single thing in the game's music, but honestly it says something about the music when I can go on for however long this video is and still not cover it all. The music of Undertale is fantastic and uses so many different sound fonts and instruments to create themes that stick in your head. The melodies are so interwoven throughout the game that the player starts to make musical connections on their own with the characters, on top of just the normal ones in the story you would make. Not only that, but there will be some music that you'll never even come across depending on how you play the game. That about wraps it up for this episode of the Gamer's Companion to Music. Sorry it took so long to get out this time, but as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a suggestion for the next episode? Leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe for more Gamers Companion to Music, only on the ESVLB Gaming channel.